So, hi Bill, how are you?
I'm good.
So, what did you learn today?
Well, I broke my wrist at work a while ago and I'm just going to get it fixed so I can get back to work.
Alright, so have you actually filed for workers' compensation?
Yeah, that's all sorted. They're paying for my physio.
Okay, so do you remember which bone you actually broke in your wrist?
I think this doctor said it was my scaphoid.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how long ago was this?
About 8 weeks I had it before there.
And were you in a cast and did you just get it off?
Yeah, I was in a cast for 6 weeks. 6 weeks and I got it off 4 days ago.
Okay. So, do you remember what actually happened when you had the injury?
Well, I was carrying a box full of paper and stuff to the printer, and then I fell. I must have tripped on something, I don't actually remember how, but I fell, my hand sort of straight out like that, and the box actually landed on top of my hand. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
So, what did you do then?
Then, because it was really sore and swollen and stuff, so I went to the hospital and they took an x-ray of it to start with, and that actually came back fine. And they said to me, if it's still painful after a week, come back and we'll see if take another x-ray.
So, you went back after a week?
Went back after a week, and it actually came back that I did have a fractured scaphoid.
Okay.
So they missed it the first time.
So, what did they do then?
Then they put me in a cast, and they said basically that I had to stay in that for 6 weeks and come back after 6 weeks, have a look. And they took another x-ray before I got the cast taken off, and I think he said it was fine, but they took the cast off anyway. So.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that later. Yeah, so, were there any other injuries when you actually fell?
Well, when the box landed on top of my hand, that's actually been quite sore. I thought it was just part of what the fracture made me feel like, but yeah, it's apart from that, that was pretty much it. A few bumps and bruises. And
So, do you remember what the doctor actually said when he had a look at your wrist initially?
Not really initially, but after the x-ray, just told me that there was a fracture there the second time. Yep.
So, have you actually fractured that wrist before or injured it in any way?
Oh no, I've sort of, I guess, sprained a few fingers back in the football days, but that's, like 20, 30 years
So
ago
that's all
now.
fine now, it's not bothering you at all? Right, that's good. So, how's your hand feeling now?
Well, I've noticed that it's actually quite weak. I don't seem to be able to move it as much as I could beforehand. And just sort of, I find it really difficult with sort of fiddly jobs, like putting my keys in the car and turning that, and then opening my stubbies and holding on to, gripping onto my coffee mug, that sort of thing. Yeah.
So, in terms of pain, 0 being no pain and 10 being the worst pain, what are you feeling right now?
Oh, it's pretty good, probably 2.
Alright, so what actually makes it worse?
I guess sort of constantly doing a fiddly job. So say, I'm standing there and having a shave, if it takes more than 2 minutes, which it generally does with his hand, it starts to ache, it starts to really throb. Okay. So that sort of makes it
How long
worse.
does it take to come down?
I guess probably about 10 minutes.
So what do you do for it to come down? Just let it rest?
I stop using that hand. Sometimes ice helps it as well, I've found. If I put an ice pack on it, it tends to make the pain come down.
Yeah. And so you mentioned that the pain actually throbs. So how exactly would you describe the pain? Is it deep, superficial?
It's pretty deep. Like, it's right sort of down in my wrist there, and it throbs, aches, when I'm using it too much, basically. Yeah.
Okay. So I've just got a chart over here. So this is just your right hand.
Yep.
So can you actually show me exactly where it hurts on this chart?
Just sort of right in the base of my thumb there. So yeah. Yep.
That's good. So do you feel any pins and needles or numbness or anything?
That's pretty good.
Alright. And is there any pain in your elbows and your shoulders or your fingers?
No.
No other pains anywhere else? No. Alright. So which is the hand you use all the time? So your dominant hand?
My right hand.
Right hand. Alright, so that must be a bit of a problem then.
Yeah.
So can you tell me what activities you've actually found difficult since your injury?
Basically, like I said, like fiddly jobs. So having a shave in the morning, I tend to maybe start with the right hand just because it's natural, especially since I've had my cast taken off, but I have to swap over, holding my knife and fork, trying to cut my steak, that sort of thing. What else would there be? I guess gripping onto things, so you know, the boss has had me doing pretty crappy jobs at work, and I really want to get back to be able to use my screwdrivers. I can't grip any of that, and I also play a lot of golf, so I haven't tried gripping onto my golf clubs yet, but I'm guessing that's not going to be easy either.
So, is that what you do for work? Look at the printers?
Yeah, I'm sort of like the maintenance guy there.
Is that full-time or part-time?
Pretty much, yeah.
Full-time?
Yeah, 4 or 5 days a week.
So if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 50.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the home situation, are you on your own, or somebody helps you around the house?
I'm married, and my wife doesn't work, so she does a lot at home, and we're both pretty independent. We don't have anyone come around to help with anything, so we do everything.
So has she been helping you around with stuff in the house?
Yeah, she's been great. You know.
And you've been off work all this time?
Well, I've been back at work for a couple of weeks, just sort of trying to do what I can, but I mean, I sort of get there and the boss and I both know that there's not a lot we can do.
Okay. So I just got to ask you a few questions before we actually go on.
Yep.
So how would you describe your general health?
Pretty good. I mean, work's not overly hard labour, but it keeps me active, and I do like to play a lot of golf, so, and I walk, I don't drive the caddies around, so that keeps me going. Yeah, and I eat pretty well, I think. I do like to have a few beers, but that's about it.
Are you aware of any circulation problems and stuff?
Not that I know of.
Family history of diabetes, blood pressure?
My dad had diabetes, but that was pretty well controlled. Nothing, no problems there, yeah.
Have you had any sort of unexplained weight loss recently?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any numbness or pins and needles in the saddle area?
No.
Any respiratory or cardiac problems?
No.
Yep, that's all right. So when you broke your wrist, you must have had a few X-rays.
Yep.
So have you brought them with you today?
I have actually. I left them in the reception. Yeah,
that's all right. I'll have a look at it.
Yep.
So while I go have a look at that, can you just fill this questionnaire out for me?
Yep.
It's called the DASH questionnaire, and it's just a series of questions about how injuries impacting on your daily life and stuff. It should take more than a few minutes.
Yep.
And then I'll come back and we'll have a look at how much you can move your wrist and stuff. Is that all right?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yep.